I just looked at the movie poster for this movie on IMDb, and now I hate myself again. Like, I'd forgotten.
Hey, can we just do a Florida Georgia Line episode?
Ladies and gentlemen, ask for a refund. I'm Kent Garrison.
I'm Brian Gill.
And I'm Richard Barker.
And this is Mad
About
Movie.
Da, 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 da! You sound insane. You realize that? The whole world got crazy! Are you seriously? It's showtime.
Mad About Movies is your go-to podcast for all things cinema. Each week we talk movie news, rumors, and rumblings, and we give you a detailed analysis of a chosen movie of the week. Don't worry, we will warn you before we go into spoilers. And please stay tuned till the end for our weekly recommends, in which we each suggest something that you need to check out ASAP. And remember, you can find all our episodes and contact the show at madaboutmoviespodcast.com. This week's movie of the week is what, Brian?
This week we'll be talking about Carrie.
I'll pick you up after school.
The other kids, they think I'm weird.
Carrie, favorite poem? Did you bring one?
I don't want to be. I want to be normal.
Wipe that smile off your face.
I have to try and be a whole person before it's too late.
Guys, you know how we've, in the past few weeks, I've been wondering something on this podcast. And I think you guys have been wondering it too. When is a movie going to come along that knocks Now You See Me off the pedestal? Tonight might be the night, guys.
Sheesh.
It might be. We're going to leave it to the listeners to decide that. But this is going to be good. So that's all I'll tease. Can
I give a couple of shout outs right
Go
off
ahead.
the top?
Yeah.
First, I'd like to thank Hollywood for releasing 12 Years a Slave and All Is Lost, both which have major Oscar buzz, and only releasing them into about 12 theaters, so that we had to see Carrie this weekend. We appreciate that. Thanks a bunch. We could be talking about potential Oscar winner for Steve McQueen and that guy whose name we can't ever pronounce, but he's awesome in every movie that he does, and he's probably going to win an Oscar for 12 Years a Slave. But instead, we get to talk about this. So that's
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
I can't do it. He's going to have to change his name so that I can say it. But I love him. I love him in every single thing he's ever done. Yeah, and I there's no way I could say his name. No way. But and also I'd like to give a shout out to we have a dear listener who is in college right now, and she plays our podcast when she's in her room at night, and her roommate Crystal does not like us. So I'd like to give a shout out to Crystal and tell her that Pikachu sucks, and so does all anime, and you're too old for that. So there you go.
You know what, guys? Haters gonna hate.
That's right.
That's.
But we will come after you, Crystal. We will not let this go unserved.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we saw
I
Carrie.
will. Hey, hold on real quick. Is Crystal hot?
No.
Okay. Well,
good question, but no.
I gotta make sure. I'm not gonna rule Crystal out.
Exactly. We had to see Carrie, but luckily there's other stuff to talk about.
Movie news,
Yes!
rumors, and rumblings.
That's awesome!
Let the filibustering begin.
I think we should start off by talking about another movie that came out this past weekend. It actually ended up being the worst opening of a movie in 2013.
Yeah.
Surprising, because it was almost the movie we chose to do for this week's episode, except for the fact that 8 people saw it in the theater. There's no audience. There's literally no audience for it. So, talk about what happened with The Fifth Estate, Brian. It made $1 million.
Yeah, and a paltry. Let's see, what was the? It made $946 per screen.
Wow.
Because it for some reason got like a fairly wide release. Contrast that with the aforementioned 12 Years a Slave pulled in $48,000 per screen. So, you know, that's only like, what is that, like 1/48 as good. So that's awesome. I saw an article that had the headline of like, does the Fifth Estate tanking mean the end for Benedict Cumberbatch as a leading man. And I think I said to you guys, absolutely not. It means that nobody cares about WikiLeaks. Like, no one cares about Julianne Assange, or however you say his name. It's late. I'm not going to be able to pronounce any names tonight, but that guy's a douche. So I don't think anybody gave a rip about. I don't know why we got this movie to begin with, but
here's the thing. Like, I think obviously no one really like understands the WikiLink thing. I feel like so that's no one wants to go in and just be confused or whatever. And then I think too, like, I don't think this would be a hit in 3 years. But if this movie came out in 3 years, I think it makes like 5 to 10 million just because of Cumberbatch. I just think it was a little head of the Cumberbatch. Like people that are into culture like we are know who he is. But I don't think like America at large really knows who he is yet. And so like in 2 years, I'm not saying this would be. The movie wasn't very good. Also, I think also if the movie was good, it would have done better. But I think just on his name recognition alone, in 2 or 3 years, once he gets some really big movies under his belt, it would make a little more. But like, I don't think people even really know he was in Star Trek. He was just kind of the villain.
Yeah, I agree with you, but $1 million is crazy. I mean,
MacGruber numbers.
It's weird to think about. I mean,
excuse me, MacGruber made $4 million. How dare you?
That's right. It did.
4 times better than Benedict Cumberbatch.
That's only because I saw it 400 times.
I mean, but you would think just by the sheer number of people that go to the movies on an average weekend, that just the fact that it's in that many theaters and it's a movie that, like, people kind of could be curious about, like. By default, it should make $5 million. Just the fact that it's in the theaters on a weekend where if you've seen Gravity already, what are you going to do? Like we said, there's a lot of movies coming out that are limited to release now. There's an awkward week last week. So it's just amazing. Like, maybe it's people didn't know what it was about. It was called The Fifth Estate. Maybe if it had been titled something WikiLeaks or something, who knows? But it's just weird and crazy, and I hope it doesn't affect. I doubt it will affect Cumberbatch at all because he's still got 12 years. He's in 12 Years a Slave, so
yeah, he is,
and he's in The Hobbit coming out and everything. So
yeah, I don't think it'll affect him at all. And I read a couple of reviews from the festival circuit, and
no one's blaming him.
No one's blaming him, exactly. Like, everybody was like, he's good. I mean, it's not like a great performance or anything, but he's fine. It's just this is a bad movie and poorly timed, probably.
Sure. Yeah, that's just crazy, and I thought I wanted to get y'all's opinions on that because that's just something that doesn't happen a lot. I mean, a movie like that you wouldn't think would set that kind of a record. You would think it would be just some random comedy or something. It's interesting, and maybe you're right, Richard. It probably needed a 3-year window to cool down the story. The story's still kind of breaking, I think.
Still breaking.
A premature movie.
Cumberbatch is still breaking as a movie star.
Yeah.
And so I think to say like this kills him as a movie star is just a little like he needs to still be doing movies with other things to draw. I don't think he by himself is a draw yet, but I think in 3 years people will go see movies just because he's in them, even if they're bad, like this movie. Not to say this would make $100 million in 3 years, but like I'm serious. If this is made in 2017, this easily, I think, makes like $5 million opening weekend, $10 million opening weekend.
Yeah.
Just on his name alone.
Yeah, sure. Some other movie news, guys. We kind of texted back and forth last week about this. It was awesome when we woke up to a new Wes Anderson movie trailer. Grand Budapest Hotel, guys. Talk about it. Richard, give me your thoughts.
It looks like a parody of a Wes Anderson movie, and I don't actually mean that in a bad way. Like, it looks like if you were to give us like $100 million and you were like, make a Wes Anderson movie, this is what we would make.
Yeah.
Which is fine with me. Like, it's just him embracing what he does, and I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. Yeah. But, I mean, it's like the most Wes Anderson looking Wes Anderson work of all time. So I'm psyched. It looks great visually. It looks funny. The cast is unbelievable. So I'm excited.
When I first heard about this movie and saw the set photos and everything, I was like, surely this has already been made. Like, surely Wes Anderson's already done a movie about a hotel. Like, I was going through in my mind, chronologically, all his movies, I was like, no, he hasn't. I thought it was a sequel to something maybe, or, it's just, like you said, it's just so, why hasn't he done it before? And and it's going to be awesome. It's just got Wes Anderson, written all over it. And
Ray Fiennes, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems so obvious, that's what I mean. Yeah. And man, it's going to be awesome. Brian, talk to me about it.
Can't wait. It looks fantastic. I think Wes Anderson is somebody who we did a Moonrise episode, I think, and I personally think Wes Anderson gets better pretty much with each film. I personally think Moonrise Kingdom is his best film. So, everything he does, I just get excited about it. And you're totally right, Richard. I watched that trailer and I was like, look, it's not like a skill or anything when you're talking about Wes Anderson, but you could put literally anyone who's ever seen a movie in a room and say, okay, I'm about to show you a trailer. Tell me who the director is. And be like, oh, Wes Anderson. Absolutely. It just screams off the screen, but I can't wait. It looks great. And I'm stoked to see him add Ralph Fiennes to his list of performers that he goes to. Ed Norton's in this movie after he did a bit on Moonrise Kingdom, so I think it's cool that how he kind of just collects actors and takes them from one movie to the next.
Bringing Goldblum back too.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. Yeah, man.
It's strange to me. I'd forgotten about Life Aquatic, and you guys reminded me he was in that movie. It's strange to me that he hasn't been in more of the Anderson films because he's kind of like the perfect guy to be amongst that cast. Like Jason Schwartzman, Bill Murray, and Jeff Goldblum. Like that's your starting point for every single Wes Anderson movie. So
yeah, definitely.
Speaking of Wes Anderson, I saw a article earlier today that said that Bill Murray was paid $9,000 to be in Rushmore.
Yeah,
$9,000. That's awesome.
Because he's Bill frickin' Murray, dude.
Yeah. You guys, dude, us three together, we could put together $25,000. And Bill Murray, and be like, dude, this is 3 times more than you made on Rushmore.
Right.
Do our movie that we wrote.
Also,
and
there's
get
no
Bill Murray
movie,
in our movie, man.
Just hang out with him.
Right.
Yeah.
But also the whole time the cameras aren't on.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how to operate the cameras. So,
if our listeners don't know, you need to just go start Googling Bill Murray and just look at the ridiculous things that he does just in real life. Like, he is notorious for showing up at karaoke bars and just joining a group of strangers and singing with them, or jamming out at like South by Southwest at a house party. I mean, he just does the coolest things because he knows he gets it. You know what I mean? Like, he gets his mystique is so much more valuable than whatever he's doing on screen. And I don't want to say it exploits that because he's just such a cool guy. He's like, yeah, I'll do this. It's fine. It's cool. Whatever. Have y'all seen the video from last year of him doing the slow-mo walk with the film crew? Somebody asked him for an autograph, and instead he was like, no, but I'll do this. Like, he's a filmmaker that asked him for like a little short filmmaker, and he did this 30-second or minute-long slow-mo walk with this guy and his friends, and they got on. It's fantastic. It's really cool, Kent. You need to check it out.
I will. One of my favorite ones is he just showed up at a park where people were playing kickball and just walked on the field. It was like, hey guys, can I play? And they're like, yeah, of course. And he just played kickball with everybody and like took a picture with them and walked and left. Like,
yeah.
Imagine being out at some random park and Bill Murray just walking onto the field.
He is the best. He's awesome. The best human, I think.
Yeah, he is. We haven't had a Bill Murray talk on here on this cast. I feel like that's weird because I know Brian, what's your favorite Murray?
Ghostbusters is pretty strong. Honestly, I think
Garfield.
I think his bit in Zombieland is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in a comedy. Like, it's a fantastic, just so smart and the perfect person to play that part, you know? Like, because it so fits his just general persona. So I can't, it's been a while. man, I can't pick anything besides that. I think that's such a cool moment.
Yeah, mine, I'd have to go Groundhog Day maybe, or what about Bob?
Kingpin.
Yeah, go Kingpin.
Oh, Kingpin, jeez. Yeah.
Wow. Man, what a treasure. Absolute treasure.
Yep. American Treasure, baby. The first one.
What?
The inaugural member.
How many American Treasures are there? Now, we need to keep a list going of American Treasures. We need to anoint people with American Treasure
or something.
Yeah, we will.
It's Bill Murray and it's John Goodman and Woody Harrelson and Richard. Who's the fourth? We've got Steve Martin, obviously. Steve Martin
Short. Yeah, and then
Martin Short's Canadian, so he's honorary. Same with
Michael J. Fox are honorary American treasures, even though they're Canadian. They're what we like to call North American treasures.
Yeah,
it's a subcategory called North American treasures.
Yeah.
Yeah, that needs to be a new thing. We need to. I'm sure there will be people that come up. We need to debate American treasure or not American treasure.
It's a strict group. There's people I love that aren't in.
Yeah.
You know,
not everybody can make it. It's all right. We ought to pick. We ought to pick like a movie week in like early March or late February or something, and do an election class or something for nominate some guys and women too if we want to open up the doors to.
Oh God, no.
And debate the merits.
So Cheryl Swoops.
What was the Cameron Crowe story that you brought up to us, Brian? A few days. I forgot. I knew it was something to do with Cameron Crowe, but I can't remember what it was.
He's casting this untitled movie they're calling the Hawaii movie, I believe. Let me see if I can bring it up. And I love Cameron Crowe. I think we've talked about him a little bit on the show. I think I recommended Almost Famous one time. Yeah. My 10th favorite movie.
Pearl Jam 20.
Yes, yeah. Pearl Jam. Yeah. I love Cameron Crowe. Shut up with We Bought a Zoo. The cast right now includes Rachel McAdams, who is my number one all-time celebrity crush. Even if she makes horrible movies, really? I can't not.
Wow. So, is this a Cameron Crowe movie about time travel?
I mean, it's got to be because she doesn't make any other kind of movies, right? Richard and I have a theory that Rachel McAdams is really, like in real life, is really into time travel, and it's ruined her career because she'll never do any movie that doesn't involve time travel.
It's true. Yep.
No, listen to this cast though: Rachel McAdams, Emma Stone, Bradley Cooper, Jay Baruchel, the aforementioned Bill Murray, so it's already the greatest thing of all time. Alec Baldwin, a future American treasure for sure.
Yeah, totally.
And John Krasinski as well. So that's strong, quite strong.
That's intriguing.
Yeah.
So is it comedy, drama? What?
The synopsis.
It's in Hawaii.
Nobody knows much about it. Like, it still doesn't even have a title, but it's the IMDb synopsis is: a celebrated military contractor returns to the site of his greatest career triumphs and reconnects with long-lost love while unexpectedly falling for the hard-charging Air Force watchdog assigned to him.
So it's We Bought a Zoo too?
Sort of thing. Yeah, maybe.
It's the General Petraeus story.
Yes.
Well, that's exciting news.
Hopefully it'll be R-rated, because I think that was the biggest problem with We Bought a Zoo is, like, not that Cameron Crowe is, like, I don't know, making just hardcore R-rated movies, but I felt like We Bought a Zoo was him trying to, like, tone it down so that he could make a family movie, you know what I mean? So maybe kind of return to roots there a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I want him to make good movies again.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's another guy like Ron Howard, who we talked about when we did Rush. We like your movies. Just make good ones again.
Right.
That's all we want.
That's a good analogy there.
Just make good ones. That's all we really want, is for you to make good movies.
Totally.
Speaking of directors that we love, Tim Burton is in the news, guys.
Hold on, let me paint my face.
Exactly. And this involves white face paint, this news. Tim Burton is officially signed on for Beetlejuice 2.
Is Keaton doing it?
Starring Michael Keaton, yes, as Beetlejuice. In white face paint, I might add. So, if there's a project...
terrible 3D.
it will be in 3D. But this is kind of... If they can get Alec Baldwin back, too, for
Baldwin seems to be signing on to a lot of stuff since he retired from acting.
Yeah. Did you guys like Beetlejuice?
I don't know. I'm just so out on Burton right now. I mean, I do love Beetlejuice. Great movie from my childhood. Love Baldwin. Love Keaton. I just don't think he can make a good movie anymore. If someone else was doing it, if it was like, hey, they got Michael Keaton and Baldwin and everyone, and the American Horror Story Ryan Murphy is making Beetlejuice 2, I might be a little more intrigued. But if Burton's doing it, I'm kind of out.
Yeah. Are we at the point where we just have to think that perhaps he's just run out of ideas? Because I'm looking at his IMDb, and it's the last time that he did...
Frankenweenie, too, yeah.
Well, but the last time he did a live-action original movie was Big Fish. And coincidentally, that was the last time he made a good movie, or even close to a decent movie, was 10 years ago. And since that time, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Sweeney Todd, Alice in Wonderland, Dark Shadows.
Great. Oh, yeah.
And Frankenweenie, don't forget.
Well, I didn't count that or Corpse Bride, because it's a little bit of a different animal when you're doing an anime. But okay, throw those in. But then also before Big Fish, the last two things he did were adaptations too, because it's Planet of the Apes and Sleepy Hollow.
So he wrote Frankenweenie 30 years ago. It was the first thing he ever wrote, was working on Disney.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean when he's running out of ideas. He's like, I could redo Frankenweenie, or I could do another Beetlejuice. So he's going to do Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, that's what's coming next. Yeah.
Edward Scissorhands 2 with white face paint and Johnny Depp, I'm sure.
I think he has a lot of stock in Hot Topic. And he's making his career choices now on what can sell the most stuff at Hot Topic.
Right.
Beetlejuice, man. I'm really interested in seeing Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice again, though. He sort of, you could see it in Clear History a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely. He could be American Treasure status.
Yeah, totally. I love Keaton.
You could get there with it. Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah.
I don't love this though. Honestly, I'm not. The more I'm thinking about it, I don't know that I've ever even seen the first one. I know I didn't see it as a kid.
Whoa.
And I know I haven't seen it as an adult. I might have caught it, late teens, early college or whatever, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I remember the cartoon series.
You were on a lot of substances then, so you probably
That's true. Yeah. Harding is a hotbed for illegal drug activities, so
I caught it. I think it's on HBO Go, Brian. You might want to check.
Okay, all right.
Because I remember I caught probably the first 20 minutes of it or something, and just to see what it looked like, because I hadn't seen it since I was 13 or whatever. But yeah, Baldwin looks super young and weird. It doesn't even look like Alec Baldwin. Yeah, and it's just super Tim Burton-y. It brought back a lot of weird memories from my child. The opening shot is a crane shot of a miniature town, and it's obviously a miniature set,
right?
But it's just a crane shot going over an entire town. It was just, for some reason, when I saw that, it was like deja vu. It was weird. It's creepy. It's movies like Beetlejuice, all the weird flashbacks and stuff. So I started having flashbacks when I was watching it. It's weird. So I suggest, go back and watch it. I'm not saying it holds up because I didn't watch all of it, but it was just weird to go back and watch Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice,
Yeah. I wonder if, I'm starting to wonder if, Big Fish is really good.
Yeah.
But all the other stuff just doesn't hold up for him. Was he ever really that talented? Was he just really overblown because he kind of had a unique look?
I think he would just rather make money than make good movies. He's in the business of making blockbusters and not making... I think he could make some art house pictures. And I want him to. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
If he was like, all right, well, I'm not going to have any music. And Danny Elfman's not going to do the soundtrack.
It's weird that he's never actually... he's kind of thought of this gothic, god, but he's never really made anything that was actually scary.
Yeah.
Like, he always does this, like, family-friendly version of horror. But, like, there's not really anything to where he's...
He does a burlesque version of, like, horror movies. Like, everything he does is very... Tons of costuming, musical, dancing. Like, think about Nightmare Before Christmas and all the remakes he's done are all, they're very formulaic. This might surprise you guys. It surprised me, definitely. You know how we talked about the Elton John biopic?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
Well, the news came out today that they've cast Elton John, Tom Hardy, a.k.a. Bane, from The Dark Knight Rises. Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's really, I think it's really good casting.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Brian?
I think it's a good choice for them. I don't know that it's a great choice for him, but that's partly just because I think I'm just at the point where I'm kind of done with biopics in general. I mean, I love Elton John as much as the next guy, but I don't necessarily know that I need to see a movie about his life. Like, I kind of know as much as I really care to know, you know what I mean? So,
well, it's called Rocket Man, and that brings back memories of Harland Williams' Rocket Man. And anytime we can feature, that would be awesome. If they do that, they show them back to back, I'm in. Yeah.
What if it turns out to be a scene-for-scene remake of Rocket Man, but just with Tom Hardy playing Elton John in the Harland Williams role? Oh. Would you be more or less interested in that?
Definitely more.
Just as interested, if not more, yeah. But, yeah, interesting. I think the last rumor, I think we had talked about this before, the last rumor we had heard was Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
And I think that would be...
might have been This Train video. There's that video where Timberlake...
Yeah, he does them on SNL and stuff, too, I think. So, and Elton John apparently wanted it to be Timberlake. But I think that would have been a little too campy,
Agreed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even campy for Elton John is even.
Yeah, better. I was going to say that might be right exactly what he wants. But
if they want it to be people to take it serious, they got to get an actor in there.
Totally. Also, yeah, exactly. Because you cannot. I mean, I love JT, but look, not able to carry a movie at this point. Not a good movie for sure.
How dare you? I just saw Runner for the 6th time.
Oh man.
Runner. Let's talk about this. Runner. What happened here? Did you see it, Brian? You see everything.
I haven't seen it. I don't. Are you
going to see it?
I'll probably watch it when it comes out on like DVD. It depends on how early it comes out on DVD because there's I do my best to see as many movies as I can before the end of the year, and then I'll give you like another month or two at the beginning of the next year. But after that point, I've moved on to 2014's movies. So if this doesn't hit DVD by like March, then I probably won't ever see it.
Oh, it will. It'll be out by Christmas.
I would think so, but you never know.
It'll come out Christmas Day, just so anyone who didn't get their in-laws a gift, get them Runner on DVD.
At Walgreens on their way to the...
Yes, exactly. So I thought that Tom Hardy...
For like $31.
Yeah.
30. Yeah. They're so overpriced. Barnes & Noble, too. Don't ever try to buy a movie at Barnes & Noble. No. Oh, you want a Blu-ray disc of, 2005's movie, like Vin Diesel movie? Oh, that'll be $49.99. No joke. I'm sure you know, Richard, working at a Borders.
Yeah, I can tell you why those are so much more expensive, but no one would care, and it's just a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah, I know why. So we talked about the Tom Hardy thing. That's interesting news. I think I like to see him do something like that. He needs redemption after Bane, in my eyes. Not his fault, though, for that. But more biopic news. See, we talked about Sacha Baron Cohen going to be Freddie Mercury.
Right.
That's not happening. He dropped out because he wanted it to be R. Queen didn't want it to be R. Queen wanted it to be a family-friendly affair, which is ridiculous. But anyway, so they've come out and said, the band Queen has come out and said that they want Ben Whishaw of Skyfall to play Freddie.
Yeah.
And so that's what it's looking like. I mean, if he says yes, which he probably will, what does he have to lose now? after Cloud Atlas. But what do you guys think about this, Brian?
Don't care.
Yeah, I said at the time I think the only reason I would, not that I'm a huge Sacha Baron Cohen fan or something like that, but I think that he was the right person for the part. Yeah. So that could have drawn me to see it.
He could draw an audience.
Yeah. And I just think he was the right guy for the part. So if he's not in it, and it's gonna be a watered down PG-13, like I said, I think I'm done with biopics unless there's some sort of draw beyond just the general subject of the movie. I just don't care. I feel like if you've seen one biopic, you've pretty much seen all of them. So I'm just not. I don't know. I'm down on this. I don't really care.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I don't think you could tell the story of Freddy accurately and have it PG-13. I just don't.
Yeah.
Like for cinematically, like I want it to be like. No, I mean, not that I think it's a great movie, but Oliver Stone's The Doors. Like, if you're going to show Jim Morrison, you need to show Jim Morrison, you know? And I feel like Freddy had a dark life in a lot of areas, too. That you can't go into that with your kids in the audience. You just can't do it.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm saying now I'm not going to see it. This to me looks like another Jobs with Ashton Kutcher, which I did see only because I'm the biggest Apple fanatic and Steve Jobs fanatic. I just wanted to see it, just to see it. Not, I don't feel that way for Queen. They don't really interest me on that level. Maybe if this is like a Zeppelin biopic, I would see it or something, just out of curiosity's sake. But yeah, I hope Sasha comes back and does it. You know, that's the only way I'll see it. But there's one more thing I want to mention, guys, for movie news.
Anchorman trailers.
Anchorman trailer. I haven't seen it.
Oh, 2 new ones came out today. Extended, like 3 minutes each.
Yeah, what are your impressions? Give us insight on this.
I hope it doesn't give away the whole movie because there's so much funny stuff in the trailer.
Yeah.
I can't. But it might just be stuff that's not even in the movie, knowing how much those guys shoot. I hope that's the case. So funny. They're both so funny.
I really enjoy some of these Dodge commercials that Ron Burgundy's doing for... Have you seen any of these?
Yes, I love them.
No one has the guts to tell you about the glove compartment.
Right.
Yeah.
I posted the dancer one on my blog last week because it kills me. The extended version of that is hilarious.
Richard, the Novellian of us, did you hear he's coming out with a book? Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, memoir.
Yeah, memoir. Are you going to buy it? Are we going to read it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
I'll audible it.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Read it.
Oh.
He's also coming out with a Ben & Jerry's flavor.
Yeah.
Called Scotchy Scotch of butterscotch ice cream. That's so genius, too. Yep. The marketing behind this is awesome.
How did that take 10 years?
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like the world just discovered Anchorman. Like, in the last 2 years, everybody's like, you know what's a really freaking funny movie is Anchorman. Yeah, I told you that in 2004. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
That's one of the few movies I remember, like, in high school, going and seeing with, like, 25 friends.
Yeah.
And it just being, like,
probably
one of the best Friday nights of your high school. You know what I mean? Like, it was just the funniest thing to, like... It's funny now to us, but back then to high school kids, it was like, oh my Lord. But yeah, it was greatness. I've gone back and watched it. It holds up pretty well.
Yeah, totally.
We're gonna have to watch it before we go see Anchorman 2.
Yeah. I still say...
Not that I still don't think Anchorman 2 is gonna even touch Anchorman 1. And if it does, I'll be extremely impressed.
Yeah.
I'd be very impressed. So the thing I wanted to mention was, guys, Monuments Men has been pushed back to 2014. So
it doesn't look good. That long trailer they released is not good.
Yeah. It looks too... It needs time. Like, it might be a World War Z syndrome, guys. They might need to fix it.
Well, that's part of what Clooney said. In the release today, he basically said, look, the the special effects don't look the way we need them to look, and I will not release this movie until it looks right. So
the dialogue looks really terrible too. It's like
there's way too much explanation in the trailer. Yeah, it's just George Clooney convincing people to, and it's like campy. It's slapstick almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not funny. It looks like Leatherheads again.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm nervous. But
yeah, I'm nervous too.
Glad it got pushed back then, so we'll have to wait a year, I guess, to see if it's good.
Well, we're gonna wait a whole year, or we're just gonna put it out in January or February.
I thought it was February, maybe, but out of Oscar contention for this year.
That means it's not good. I hadn't seen a release yet. I just
when Gravity just came out, and your movie's like not even done, you're like, should I? And it's Clooney,
and
he's like,
Wolf on Wall Street moved to the same release date too. That had to have been part of it, because Wolf on Wall Street was supposed to be mid-November, and then it got bumped to Christmas Day, same time as Monuments of Men. So that had to have been part of the decision as well, because that happened like within 2 days of each other.
I want to get one.
Are we sure Clooney's a good director?
No.
Like, I know he got off hot, but like his last few movies, Leatherheads, what was the one?
Ides of March.
Ides of March.
Yeah.
Like, maybe
we'll have to see. I mean,
Good Night and Good Luck is great. I mean, he's a really talented person, producer, writer, obviously actor. But I'm starting to wonder if maybe his taste is a little off lately, as a director.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I wanted to pull down one of the Monuments Men posters that said "This Christmas" on it at the theater, because it's like, oh, that's going to be a collector's item. It's not coming out, but yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I'm nervous because I love John Goodman and Bill Murray. I'm not on the Matt Damon train nearly as much as you guys are, so you guys are probably more nervous than I am on that front. But man, super nervous. But I did see the Out of the Furnace trailer. I don't know why they showed it before Carrie. It made no sense to me. Every other trailer that they showed was just the bottom of the barrel movies coming out in the beginning of January, like this Valentine's Day, a remake of Endless Love, and just like, they're like, oh, the people that are going to go see Carrie will love this, And I don't know why they showed Out of the Furnace, because no one that saw Carrie and paid money to seriously see Carrie is going to be like, oh, I'm going to go see Out of the Furnace with Woody Harrelson, Casey Affleck, and Christian Bale, Yeah. Which looks awesome, by the way.
It does. It looks super dark and gritty. I mean, oof.
Oh, it's Harrelson being insanely Harrelson-y.
Yeah.
Crazy, like drunken Woody.
Classic Woody Harrelson.
Classic American
pre-deal with McConaughey. Woody Harrelson.
Yep. Man, he's giving McConaughey a run for his money.
Pre-Freaky Friday with McConaughey.
Yeah. He really is giving him a run for his money. He's like, man, I can't let Matthew have it this year.
Yeah.
I got to do something dark. So he did.
Or that he was just super bummed out and wanted to do something dark after he did Now You See Me.
After Now You See Me, I'm sure that's what happened. He's like, he needed to cleanse his soul with good cinema.
Yeah, I want to kill some people.
Hey, what's up, Ma'am Fam? Kent here. And yes, if you're hearing from me, you know it's time to talk about Blue Apron. If you haven't tried out Blue Apron by now, what the heck are you even doing? Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. They deliver fresh meals straight to your door. All the food is fresh, it's sourced from local farms, and there's no wasted ingredients. I've been a Blue Apron subscriber for a long time now, and they have still, to this day, never let me down. There's tons of variety. Some featured upcoming meals include summer vegetable and egg paninis, soy glazed pork and rice cakes, skillet vegetable chili with cheddar drop biscuits, holy crap, and garlic butter shrimp and corn with green bean salad. So take it from me. Try out Blue Apron now. Go to blueapron.com/mad. That's blueapron.com/mad. Get 3 meals on us for free. Nothing goes better with a movie than dinner. So check out Blue Apron. blueapron.com/mad. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. Hey, Ma'am Fam, question for you. Do you own a small business, or are you a boss? Are you looking to hire awesome people, but you just can't find somebody to fill that role? Well, let me tell you about ZipRecruiter.com. With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites all with one click. In fact, over 80% of jobs posted on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just 24 hours. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. Right now, you can post your jobs for free on ZipRecruiter by going to ZipRecruiter.com/mad. That's ZipRecruiter.com/mad. One more time, try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/mad. Thanks to ZipRecruiter for supporting this episode of the Mad About Movies podcast. Speaking of Now You See Me, let's talk about Carrie.
If I concentrate hard enough, I can make things move. There are other people out there like me who can do what I can do.
You know the devil never dies. Keeps coming back. You gotta keep killing him. No!
One of the most confusing things about this movie, and I'm using quote fingers if you can picture that in your head, is who would enjoy this? I just can't think of it. It's like it's targeted towards people that are over the age of 17, but before they go to prom. So there's about a 8-month window there of kids that would really enjoy this movie, I think.
Well, they succeeded in my theater because that's the only people that were there. It was me and my wife and probably 200 kids who are probably not old enough to be, like, they had to sneak in. So, I mean, the entire theater was just jam-packed with 16 and 17-year-olds. I nearly killed myself, guys. It was rough. It was rough.
Oh, man. I just kept picturing you and your
wife.
Because
they were all so hot, or what?
Yeah, I just couldn't handle it.
I just kept picturing you and your wife, Brian. And I was like, I just felt so bad for y'all.
We immediately regretted our decision. Like, we sat down, and it was just like, what are we even doing here? Like, I knew it was going to be awful when my biggest pet peeve, and I think I texted you guys about this, like, my theater of choice is the Rave, because it's like a mile from my house. And it's a good theater, it's fine. So I go there for almost every movie that I see these days. And they have this extreme theater, is what they call it, which is, it's spelt just like with an X, like there's no E, which is a pet peeve of mine as well. Like, that's so 90s to me to say X, to start to replace extreme with the big X, or in something in Z. That's another thing that drives me crazy when it should be an S. You know what I mean?
Ants.
Yeah, see, but that worked because it was 1997 when that, you know what I mean? Like, let's knock it off now. But no, we show up to the theater and get tickets, and it was like kind of a spur of the moment thing because we met my parents for dinner, and then they took the kids, so we had a night off. We're like, let's go see a movie, and we went to see this. And they have it in the Extreme Theater. And there's this movie called Gravity, guys. And it's the biggest movie of pretty much of the year. And certainly that's in theaters right now. And it is specifically made for screens like this one. And for some reason, we've got to stretch Carrie like an aspect ratio that doesn't fit on the screen correctly so that we can watch it in the Extreme Theater. I mean, I knew walking in, I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? This is just such a mistake. Man.
So, talk to us about the movie, Brian.
Well, I laughed in this more than I did in Now You See Me. I don't think they intended me to, but like, guys, this is just... I think Now You See Me is worse. Because I
don't know, man.
Man, it's...
Dude.
Look, I think
I've been thinking about it ever since. I've been comparing the two, yeah.
But it's just... They're in two different directions, because, like, Now You See Me, I think part of what makes it so bad is that it thinks it's good, and that really makes me angry. And part of the reason this is so bad is because clearly nobody involved with this movie thought it was going to be any good. Like, they stepped onto the set day one and just, they were all bummed out and sad that their agents booked this part, and just, man, this is just going to be a really crappy movie. And correct. It's just, there's and also absolutely no purpose for it to exist. It's, I mean, I don't like horror movies, but Carrie is considered to be a horror classic, and I would agree with that. But also, like, there's a reason why that movie was made in 1976, and this is 2013, and it's like they wanted to. You never could tell if this movie intended to be like an homage to the first one, or just a straight remake or ripoff. Really, is what it amounted to. So it's like, I don't know. It just felt uninspired and lifeless and purposeless. The entire movie. It's just bad.
Brian, I agree with everything you said except for one thing.
Okay.
I think everyone in this... I got the impression that every single actor in this movie was trying really hard.
Really?
I don't, like, every teenage actor they got was like, oh, I want to be in the new Carrie movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I better, you know. Didn't you get that impression? And, like, Julianne Moore was going just... I don't know what she was going for there. But it seemed like she was being serious to me. And Chloe Moretz, too.
Yeah. I feel like Julianne Moore and Chloe Grace Moretz, like, to me it felt like trying to seem like you're trying. Does that make sense? Like, I hate this. I know it's terrible, but I'm going to try my best to pull out a good performance, and I'll do all the stuff that you see in a movie that makes you think, oh, that was a good performance, but there's no, like, my heart's not in it, so it's just so flat. You're probably right about the, like, kid actors, though, or the high schoolers, mostly because none of them will ever be in another movie. So this was their only opportunity to prove themselves. And, I mean, oh, God. I mean, they're just really bad, guys.
Let's get Richard's first impressions before we start getting into specifics about the awfulness of this. By the way, we love movies. We don't do this podcast to bash movies. Right. But when there's a bad one, we'll bash it. We're not afraid. We're not afraid of that. Richard Barton, speaking of bashing, what did you think of Carrie?
Loved every minute of it. Oh, by the way, every minute of it
was great.
You mean 20 minutes?
Yeah, but I mean about 20 minutes I made it through. Yeah. I told Brian on Monday I wasn't going to see it. I was like, I just don't care enough about the listener. Or you two as friends, but the guilt got me. Found myself there yesterday afternoon. And, didn't make it all the way through. Not really one redeemable thing. I'm kind of starting to worry about Chloe Grace Moretz, whatever her name is, Moretz. Like, psychologically worry about her. Not so much career. But this on the heels of Kick-Ass.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too.
Yeah. On the heels of Dark Shadows, by the way. Ugh.
Oh, man. Yeah, she might just be box office poison. Yeah. And quality movie poison. And I think seems like a sweet, talented person. Little, person. I don't know, I feel weird saying teenager. Maybe feel
really good in Hugo.
But, yeah, she's really good in a lot. She's great on 30 Rock.
Yeah.
She's good. But maybe, she needs to fire her agent or fire her parents or not. I don't know. But yeah, so you're right. The last three things I've seen her in, Brian, are Dark Shadows, this, and Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah.
And Brian, she was in movie 43.
I know. I just looked at that, and I never saw her because I only made it through about 20 minutes of that. But that's not a solid day, man.
I would say between Dark Shadows, Kick-Ass 2, and this movie, that is at least 40 minutes of my life I will never get back.
Gosh, I wish I could do that. It kills me. Anytime I'm sitting in one of these terrible movies, I look at my clock on my phone and I think, I bet Richard left 20 minutes ago. I can't do it, but I wish I could. I know.
It's the one good thing
I do.
That's my one good trait. This was, can we stop remaking? This is an original thought at all, so please don't think that I'm trying to make it, but it needs to be made. Can we stop remaking good movies or like classic movies?
Yes.
Just how about movies that like should have been good and were bad?
RoboCop. That's the perfect movie to remake. Carrie, you do not need to remake. Like, ugh.
Exactly. So, it was so stupid. Julianne Moore. I love Julianne Moore. Mostly because she's always naked, but also because she's a great actor. No, I'm kidding. No, but she's a wonderful actress, and I've seen her do things that are unbelievable. And she's in this, and she is like just eating scenery. And this character doesn't even make sense logically.
Makes no sense at all. There's no logic in this movie
whatsoever. Yeah.
I'll go into specifics later about logic, but go ahead. Yeah. Yeah,
there's no motive to her, and then is Carrie supposed to be sympathetic? Because she kind of wasn't, and then she Googles or whatever, like telekinesis, right? That's what I. I gave it a good sigh, which is like.
No, she goes to her library, Richard. Yeah. And she picks up a book on telekinesis and starts from chapter 1.
Yeah. In her school library.
Normal kid would do. Like every kid does. Goes to the school library. Gets a stack of books. And every school library has thick books on telekinesis, by the way. Just want to point that out.
Gosh. It's right next to the Aleister Crowley occult stuff in your school library. Yeah.
Guys, there's not a frame of this movie that's watchable.
No.
There is not one scene that makes sense, that's worthy of being watched. There really isn't. And it's...
I propose a bet to you both. You've committed some sort of crime. And it's a bad crime. I'm not going to say what it was, but it was bad. And the judge sentences you to one of two sentences, but you can only choose one.
Oh,
you have to watch this movie. You have to watch this movie for eternity. Every minute of every day, this movie will be on. Or the Florida Georgia Line video stay.
Oh man,
I choose Florida Georgia because.
Whoa!
Listen, but here's the thing. Because I think the snap cut, ridiculously fast paced cutaways that video is displaying would drive me insane in about 3.5 weeks, and then for the rest of eternity, I could just sit in my chair and not process anything. So there's that.
That's actually a smart. Good job. You picked the system.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue, Kent, with your professional podcast host.
When she first discovers her telekinesis, she's in the principal's office, right? And she shatters a water cooler because everybody has glass water coolers.
God, Kit, have you seen the original, like, recently, at least? Because I can't remember enough about the original to say, wait, was that in the original movie? Like, that exact scene?
I can't. You know what? The original one is on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch it because I was like, I really need to wait because I know it'll be better after seeing the new one than vice versa. You know? Because if it resembles the first one and I went and saw the new one after it, and I'll be like, oh man, it just ruined so many scenes I just saw yesterday or whatever. But I'm going to go back and watch it, and I'll have to get back to you on that one. But...
Dude, but
there's no way, because I feel like the first movie was a horror movie. This movie is not a horror movie. I just don't understand the tone of it.
Right.
It does. There's less. This could have been PG-13 if there was less.
I think it was supposed to be
blood
PG-13
and
at some point. Yeah.
Quote unquote blood, but I mean it's just so bad and not scary at all. If you're gonna Richard, if you're going to remake a horror movie, say, Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Evil Dead that have come out in the past few years, those movies have been very violent and pretty scary. If you're into that sort of stuff, they mission accomplished on those movies. Yeah.
Sure.
If you're this is the complete opposite of that. This is like a dumbing down, this was the scene in Kick-Ass 2 where Chloe Grace Moretz hit girls at high school for an entire movie.
Yes.
Is what it was.
Yes.
And she's not convincing in this part at all.
No.
To me, she was just unwatchable. Like the way she was slouched down and looking at the camera not straight faced the whole time and just tried to play awkward. She can't play awkward.
It was horrible. It was a horrible performance. Let's just be honest. I think she is a good actress. I think she's got talent. But I mean, this is one of the worst performances I've seen all year. And
absolutely.
And the thing that killed me. Have you guys? I would guess not. Have either of you guys ever seen any of the OC, the TV show from the?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
every episode of it.
All right, there we go. So Ryan Atwood on that show, played by Ben McKenzie. The thing that I think the OC is a really pretty solid show for what it is, and I liked Ryan Atwood quite a bit. But the guy was kind of a terrible actor at that point, and everything that he did, he acted only with his eyes. For the entire first season, he never has a facial expression. He just conveys everything with his eyes, And so it's he's scared. Oh, he's got scared eyes. You know what I mean? Things like that. I felt like I was watching. I felt like Chloe Grace Moretz had never been in a movie before and only watched Ryan Atwood on the OC to prepare for this role. Every scene, she's trying to convey something with her eyes, but it is just so painful and rudimentary that you just... I spent pretty much the entire movie just going, either laughing uncontrollably at how bad it is or giving the heavy, oh my gosh, heavy sigh, mostly because of her. She is really, really, genuinely bad in this movie.
Yeah.
She's really bad. She I smell a Razzie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's brutal.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. And she's not without talent, but man, I don't know if she's adjusted well to be playing an older adolescent. Mm-hmm. She still tries to be kind of pouty 9-year-old, and it just doesn't really work anymore. Which I hate criticizing a minor for their flaws as an actor, considering she's 10 times more successful at 16 than I'll ever be. But still, she's not really engaging as much as she was when she was younger. And I'd like to see her recapture that because she seems like a really neat, young person. I'm old. I just said young person.
A youth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, there's just... What more can we talk about that's bad? I mean, there's so much bad to talk about.
Yeah. It's horribly outdated. That's a big part. You mentioned earlier, Kent, the water bottle bit, or the water jug.
I was thinking, that's in the script.
Yeah.
Shatters water cooler.
Right. When was the
They're
last
how are we going to shatter a
glass?
How are we going to shatter a water cooler? I guess it's got to be a glass.
Exactly.
There's no logic at all.
No, and there's tons of stuff like that. Every set feels outdated. It feels like the movie feels like it was made in 1978. It's so outdated. And I kept thinking to myself that it was supposed to be set in the early 80s or late 70s or whatever. And then Fallout
I know
Boy
what about the first one. I know that
right.
I know that there's the shower scene in the first one. I know there's the prom and everything. So there are elements that are based on the original. If that's what felt 70s to you, the 70s style prom and everything, them being in their gym. I think maybe that was stuff like that was an homage to the first one.
Totally, but it
doesn't work here.
Literally every aspect of the movie. I really did. There were several moments where I thought to myself, I'm watching, this is set in the 80s, this is set in the early 80s, and then somebody would bust out a cell phone, or Fallout Boy would come on the soundtrack, or something like that. and I was like, oh crap, this is supposed to be present day. Like even the teachers, dude, like the English teacher that basically calls her out for what she read in class. Like you can't do that in 2013. You really couldn't do that in I don't know, even 10 years ago. Like you get fired for that stuff. And these are like major plot points of the movie that absolutely make no sense and feel like they're straight out of 1977.
Yeah. So let's try to make sense. What was Julianne Moore? Did we ever figure out why she was possessed? I never understood why she was possessed. So basically, Carrie gets picked on at school and then murders everybody.
Yeah.
And murders her mom.
Right.
And the end.
Yep.
And she dies too, by the way.
Or does she?
Right. Because she gets.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. By the way, I didn't see the movie. I'm just going to guess.
Well, Richard saw the whole movie. Didn't want to admit it. We know.
No, I didn't. I was out long before that, but I'm assuming there was some sort of. They have to change the ending a little bit in this one, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, the way she dies. Spoiler alert: the way she dies, Richard, is that boulders fall from heaven and destroy the house because that happens. So
yeah.
I
was wondering,
did that make any sense to you, Kent? I had no idea why that was
her
happening.
house was falling down, yet there was an earthquake.
It just at her house.
I didn't understand why if your house is falling down, it's not going to make an entire movie theater shake with noise, first of all. Well, it was like it sounded like the movie 2012, Roland Emmerich, Destruction.
It did.
And it was like a small one-story house falling down.
And there were all the boulders were crashing down. Like, where are these boulders coming from? Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Dude, the worst line of exposition in the entire movie, and this really made me think of Now You See Me, because Now You See Me has the classic, which we talked about, like, when the random FBI agent says, "Hey, you know how Jesse Eisenberg makes all of his cohorts wear GPS tracking devices?" And you're like, "No, why did that happen? Like, why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense at all, except to further this plot point."
Sure.
There's this bit where she's talking to her mom towards the end, and she's talking about her possession or her telekinesis or whatever's happening. And she goes on this rant about how we know that grandma was a witch, and we know that sometimes it's the gift skips a generation. So that's probably what happened to you, Mom, but it came to me. And it comes out of nowhere. And I was like, I turned to my wife and I go, did I miss this point where she found out that grandma was a witch and that I didn't understand any of this? And
that's what I'm saying. There had to have been one line of dialogue where they explained the entire movie that I didn't catch. Yeah. Because I don't understand a thing that went on storyline wise with this. I agree with you. There's so much bad here. And I laughed out loud in the theater at this one particular moment. And I don't know if you guys noticed this. So the blonde girl, I don't know her name, Susan, I think it was.
Yeah.
Blonde girl in the movie. She doesn't go to the prom because she wants her boyfriend to go with Carrie.
Right.
And so her boyfriend's like, "Oh, you're gorgeous," and stuff. Well, I don't know why she wants her boyfriend to fall in love with Carrie.
Let's back this up. That. How many 17-year-olds in 2013 are named Susan? Go ahead.
Anyway. They, so she's in the shower, the blonde girl. She's at home. She's in the shower. She's not at the prom. Some reason she has her cell phone in the shower.
Yep.
Gets a text. By the way, they're cutting back and forth to the prom. So they start playing a song at the prom. They cut back to her. She gets the text. They cut back to the prom. Same song is still playing. They cut back to her. She's getting ready. No, she's leaving her house to come up to the prom.
Right.
They cut back to the prom. Same song is still playing. She pulls up to the prom. Same song is still playing. So they probably just played that song 25 times in a row at the prom because that song kicked off the night or something.
Right. Well,
logically, that made no sense to me. And I was like, literally 45 minutes just transpired and one song has been playing at the prom the whole time.
Right. And you're skipping a pretty major plot point there too, because or plot hole, I should say, because she gets this text that says, we're about to mess with your friend or whatever, and instead of, so we've established that cell service works both in her house and in the prom. We have already seen earlier, about like 20 minutes ago, her texting with her boyfriend who is at the prom with the person that's about to get blood dumped on him. But she doesn't think, maybe I should text or call my boyfriend. She thinks, I better jump in the car and immediately get to the school.
Guys, we can talk all day about how bad this movie is, really. But I just wanted to warn the listener, don't see this if you were planning on it. There's no value. No. It's not scary. If you're like, oh, well, at least it's a horror movie for the Halloween season. No. It's not scary. It's not a horror movie. Go see a scary movie. Hopefully one comes out in the next few weeks or so for Halloween. But
you know what? Find a theater that's showing like the original Halloween or something.
Sure.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I agree. Like, why this movie serves no purpose. It did not need to be remade. And
no.
It's weird because the lady that directed Boys Don't Cry, which is an Oscar movie. Like that was a good movie. Like, what the heck? No, like, I think Richard is right. Or you were right, actually, Brian. Maybe everyone just did phone it in on this. Maybe they were like...
Straight cash, homie.
Yep.
I just don't think... I was so convinced that they were... that Chloe Grace Moretz was trying to be seriously dramatic in this. That's the only thing. Like, all bad acting aside, I can't forgive Chloe Grace Moretz for this performance. I just can't.
Oh, it's
like,
terrible.
It was just horrible. It's worse. It's 100 times worse than Kick-Ass 2 to me. This movie was.
Yeah.
This movie's bottom of the. This movie might be worse than Now You See Me. It might be. Like, honestly, we need to have a Carrie, Now You See Me back to back, end of the year, throw down party, bash it, and just record it for the podcast and give it away for free. We need to give away our Now You See Me commentary track. That needs to happen.
I'm in. Count me in.
Let's take pre-orders. Guys, grade for Carrie.
F, yeah.
I'm going to give negative F. F on the complete opposite alphabet spectrum. So, yeah. Richard.
Straight F, homie.
Nice. So go see Carrie. It's a great little film. And you'll enjoy it. And take your kids. Because they'll learn a lot of things about life.
There was a kindergartner in my theater.
Guys, you'll like this, Richard. So when I saw this, there was probably 4 other people in the theater. I was the only one in the theater by the end of the movie.
Nice.
Everybody walked out except for me.
My people.
I was like, I have to at least do this because it was epically bad. I at least have to see how bad it is at the end. It was worse than I had imagined. Let's get this over with. Let's do Weekly Recommends.
Weekly Recommends.
I want to recommend something Halloween related. It's a documentary on Netflix. It's about haunted houses and people that do haunted houses. It's called The American Scream. Really cool little documentary. Have you guys seen it?
I've not seen it. I know what it is. I saw it come across my recommendations this week.
Richard, you seen it? No?
I have not. No, I haven't.
So check it out. It's really, really funny and well done. You know, like people around here go more crazy for Christmas than they do Halloween. And, you know, Christmas lights and everything are a big deal around here. But I wish I lived somewhere where people went crazy for Halloween. Because the money that people spend in this documentary to make their house decorated for like one day, unbelievable. Yeah. At least Christmas you can have your decorations up for a month. But like Halloween, it's like it's just creepy if you have your decorations up like in November and stuff. So yeah, check this documentary out. It's really well done. Cool documentary. The American Scream on Netflix. So Brian, what do you can recommend?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a quick double pick. The Way Back, which is still probably my favorite movie of the year, and I think all 3 of us quite enjoyed it. Hit Blu-ray and DVD this week. So I've already picked up my copy. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. It's not going to get any kind of award buzz because it's just too strong of a year. But man, we all really liked it. I can't recommend it enough. So go check that out. But I also wanted to pick I don't know if we've ever done this before, but I wanted to recommend an article that I sent to you guys today.
I did last week.
You did, that's right. Sweet. Well, I'm following right in your lead. The article is on Grantland.com. It's by Mr. Andy Greenwald, who is a fantastic TV critic and writer. I highly recommend you follow him on Twitter if you don't already. But he wrote an article for Grantland today called How We'd Fix It for NBC. If you don't know, NBC is just, their ratings are tanking across the board, particularly in their comedy lineup, which is what NBC is really known for over the course of the last 30 or 40 years, really. I mean, we're getting close to... But anyway, 30 years. Comedy has been a big part of the NBC lineup, and they are just tanking and struggling. We all here, we love TV almost as much as we love movies, and sometimes more. We love to talk about it. I think all three of us are pretty fascinated by the ins and outs of TV and the decision making that goes into that. So the article basically gave 5 things that NBC should do to regain their strength and get a boost for their network as a whole. And they're all, like, a lot of times you read an article like this and you're like, okay, I see where he's getting at. A couple of these points are really good. All 5 points, absolutely. NBC should take this article and put it into practice tomorrow. Like, they should do this immediately. Nice. I really enjoyed reading it, and I think any of our readers who are, our listeners who are TV watchers would enjoy reading it as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I meant to ask you guys how you've been keeping up on the TV pilots, but we'll save that for next week. Richard, what can you recommend?
Yeah, Brian, you stole mine with the way back, so I'll go.
Oh, sorry, dude.
It's okay. I'm gonna come at you even harder with something that you hold even more near and dear.
Oh no!
November 5th, complete box set, Boy Meets World.
Oh. Yes.
The box set. So I'm going to recommend it before you get a chance. So pre-order now on Amazon and enjoy the wonder that is Boy Meets World, the complete series.
What's the scoop on Boy Meets Girl or Girl Meets World or whatever?
They're shooting right now. Comes out next year.
Next year? I thought it was going to come out soon. Man.
No, it's sometime in 2014.
I saw a picture of the whole cast.
Yeah.
The other day. Too. Yeah. Man, they need to just do Boy Meets World again. Screw the new show.
Yeah, I know.
Why are they not doing it still? It makes no sense. Like, that would be the #1 show on, like, NBC on a random. It would, like, on Monday night. Like, what does NBC have on? Random Sean Saves the World or something.
Right.
Another Matthew Perry show probably that they're pitching.
Right. As long as it's got Mr. Feeney, that's all I need in my life is Mr. Feeney.
Exactly. Anything else you guys want to mention about Carrie before we and this week's stuff before we get out of here?
No.
Brian, where can we find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at bgill12, and you can find my writing at canbabiesdrinkredbull.com.
Richard Barden.
You can find me on Twitter at CarrieFan666 or at richardbarden.com.
You can find me on Twitter at Kent Garrison. You can find the show on iTunes. Just search Mad About Movies. Leave us 5 stars because we're awesome. Even if you hate our podcast, leave us 5 stars and tell us why you hate us underneath that. How about that? It's a good idea.
Sounds good.
I guess, guys, until next time, we will see you at the cinema.
Bye.
See ya. Goodbye.
If you're lost and alone, or you're sinking like a stone, carry on. May your path be the sound of your feet upon the ground. Carry on.